The video that I'm going to show today is how to make the self-fringing scarf. As you can see here, there is the main body through here, and it has these little fringes which you actually knit as you go, and then you unravel it once it's finished. I use Lydia yarn, which is about 1.5 inches wide. There's not a whole lot of this yarn left around, but I have enough in my store to make at least 2 to 3 of each of the 5 colors. I'll show you the colors at the end of the video. This is where you find the video at, stitchniche.com. Hit notifications so you know when I'm doing something, and also press like if you enjoy my videos. To start with, I'll show you where to go. So you go to stitchniche.com, and this will be your home page. You click on the word shop. Once you get to the word shop, you have your option. You can either go to patterns, and then you can use this here and search by self-fringing scarf, and the actual scarf pattern will pop up, or you can go to yarns and search by Lydia, L-Y-D-I-A, and the actual Lydia yarn will show up, and then you can go from there. Here's what the pattern looks like. It is a free pattern. Like I said, it's called the self-fringing scarf. I use the Lydia, but you can use any 1/2 inch, 5/8 inch ribbon yarn. I went out on Google and typed in 1.5 inch ribbon yarn, and it came up with about 5 different options other than the Lydia. Now, I'm not going to do the first half. It's pretty straightforward. You leave a tail of 6 to 8 inches, and I'll explain that reason why later, but you want to leave a tail, cast on 16 stitches. Now, if you want to make it wider, obviously you need more than 16 stitches, and you would knit your first row. After that, all the rows are exactly the same. Knit 3, knit 2 together, increase in the next stitch, knit 4, increase in the next stitch, knit 2 together, knit 3, and you just keep repeating it over and over and over again until you either use up all your yarn or you have the length you want. Then once you're done, we'll go to the bind off. So let's go ahead and show on plain yarn how it actually works. I decided to show on plain yarn first because sometimes it's easier to see it when the yarn is plain versus when it's really fuzzy or something else. 2, 4, 6, 10, 12, 14, 16. I did 20 here instead of 16. I think I did 4 on the ends instead of 3. Normally you do 3. I don't know why. Late at night, I guess. So you start with knit 4, and no, it's supposed to be 3. Now, if you want to make it wider, you could possibly knit 4 or knit 5. So you knit 4, knit 2 together. Now, the 2 you knit together is one is the increase from the previous row. You do one of the increased stitches with the 5th stitch. By doing that, it kind of locks it together, so when we start to unravel it, it doesn't unravel any further than these 4 or 3 stitches. So you knit these 2 together, and then you just knit across. Very straightforward and simple, depending on the amount of stitches you have chosen for yourself. I know at the end I need 6, 2, 4, 6, oh, in this case 7. So 2 left. Oh, I forgot to do the increase. I am so sorry. Let me go back, because that increase is very important. You need that to help lock your next roll coming up. Just about there. Okay, 4, there's my knit 2 together. Now the increase is you knit in the front and back of the same loop. And that gives you the increase, and you would use this part of the increase with this knit 2 together, and that locks the next row when you get to it. So let's go ahead and knit till we get to the last, in this case, 7 stitches. 2, 4, 6, 7, right. Okay, so we increase in this stitch, knit in the front and back of the same loop. Nope, I dropped it. Let me try again. Okay, knit in the front and the back of the same stitch, knit 2 together, because this is the increase from the previous row, so add that to your stitch that you knitted the 2 together on, and that locks it. So next time you'll knit these 2 together, which is part of this increase, plus your knit 2 together from the previous row. I'll do 2 of these, then I'll switch to the actual yarn that I'm using, and you'll see why I'd switch to this. Okay, I'll do 1 more. So in this case I'm knitting 4, but you can knit 3 or 5. It's entirely up to you. This is your scarf. Knit 2 together, and then you do an increase, knit in the front and back of the same stitch, knit to the last 7 or 6, depending on how many stitches you're going to have total. And I will show the bind off on this piece before I show the bind off on the actual lace piece, so you'll have a better visual and you'll see it done both ways. 2, 4, 6. Oops, I did one too many. Okay, so you increase in this stitch, knit in the front and back, knit 2 together, and then knit to the end. All right, so when you're done, your piece is going to look like this. I'll enlarge this a little bit for you. It will look like that, and as you can see, this is what it looks like. But when we get to that part, I'll explain how it works. So let me take it back a little ways. Now I'm going to switch over to the actual Lydia yarn. This is a whole scarf, all except for the last 3 rows in the bind off. That's why it's so long. But I'm going ahead, and this one's done with the 16. I always try to keep the yarn as flat as possible. I try not to twist it too much. Sometimes it does twist. In this case, it's folded in half, but it'd be a bear to sit there with an iron and try to iron it. So I just leave it the way it is. But try to keep it as flat as you can. If you have to, turn the yarn until you get it reasonably flat, or wind it up on a spool, or whatever you need to do to make it comfortable. So knit 3, knit 2 together, increase. Now these are done on a size 17 straight needle. Now the other one I did was a smaller yarn, so it was done I think on a 15 needle. Okay, so there was my knit 2 together and my increase. Now I'm going to knit 4, and as you see it lays pretty flat. It does twist a smidgen, but not too much. 2, 4. Oh, there it is. 2, 4, 6. So I need to knit this one because this one is being done right. So I'm going to do the increase in this stitch. As you can see, it's a little bit harder to see. That's why I'm doing it on plain also. And then you knit these 2 together and knit 3. We'll do 1 more. Let me untangle this a little bit. There. Okay, so we start with, hope you've seen it. Well, I guess I shouldn't have chose black. I thought black would be a good color. I guess it maybe against a piece of white. See if that'll help a little bit. Okay, let's try that. Knit 3. 1, 2, 3. Knit 2 together. Increase in this one. I said it's the same thing over and over again. Knit 4. And if you run out of stitches and don't have the 6 at the end, then you know you've either knitted 2 together or you forgot to do an increase. So go back and look and see what you did, and that'll help you figure it out. Now I've got 6, 2, 4, exactly. Okay, so now I do an increase. Knit 2 together. Knit 3. Looks like I have enough yarn here for 3 rows, not 2. So I'm going ahead and use up as much of the yarn as I can. I hate to waste this yarn because you only get 62 yards to a ball, and it takes 100 to 110 yards in order to make it between 3.5 and 4 feet. The good thing about it is once you've unraveled it, you can actually pull on it and stretch it out a bit more. All right, so let me knit 1 more. 2, 3, knit 2 together, increase, knit in the front and back of the same loop, knit 3, increase, knit in the front and back of the same loop, knit 2 together, knit 3, oops, see, I did something wrong. I should only have 3 left here, so that means I need to take this out and drop that 1 stitch. Okay, 2, 4, 6. All right, now we do an increase in this one. The reason I dropped the stitch is because when you do an increase in the same stitch, you're doing 2 stitches in the same one. If you drop this one, you still keep the original one. So it's kind of a quick, easy way to fix that little boo-boo. Okay, knit 3. Now I'm going to go back to the plain yarn and show you how to do the bind off. And then we'll do the bind off again in the Lydia. And then I'll show you how the magic works to make your fringe. Okay, let's see. We start with knit 3. Let me enlarge this a little bit now since we're looking at the pattern more. Knit 3, bind off 10 stitches, leave the remaining loops on the left needle. Do not knit them. It's very important you do not knit them because there's no need. Okay, so we start with knitting 3. Now when we do our bind off, we do not include these 3 stitches in our bind off. So we start with knit 2. Let me move this down a bit. There, I think that's a little better. Put the first stitch over the second stitch. So there's your first bind off. So when you're done, you're going to have 3 stitches left over here. So let's knit 1, bind off, that's 2, knit 1, bind off, that's 3, knit 1, bind off, that's 4, knit 1, bind off, there's 5, knit 1, bind off, that's 6, my yarn stuck, knit 1, bind off, 7, knit 1, bind off is 8, knit 1, bind off is 9, knit 1, bind off, well, since I have the few extras, I'm going to have to do a couple more because this is the one that I made just a little bit longer, just to show you it can be done in different widths. Okay, so there's your last bind off, and you don't knit those. You cut your thread, leave a tail. I'll explain that why in a minute. And then I just put them all on the needle until I'm ready for it. Okay, so this is what your work will look like before you actually start the unraveling part. Let me get this out of the way. All right, so now I'm going to show you the bind off on the actual yarn. Yeah, like I said, you can use any yarns. I haven't tried it with fuzzy yarns yet, but I bet a fuzzy yarn would make it look really neat too, more like a boa. All right, so we're going to knit 3. This one will be the right amount of stitches. Okay, so now we knit 2, because this is where our bind off starts. This yarn doesn't stretch like the other one does. So there's first bind off. Two. Three. 4. 5. 6. 7. 8. 9. Oh, that's as far as I can go because I have 3 left. Okay, so maybe I got a mistake in my pattern. Maybe you just knit off 9, not 10, because you want to have these 3 left over, and you can't actually put that onto here because then you won't be able to unravel it. So this one you would finish off like I said, leave yourself a tail. Okay. And then, of course, you can put these on needle if you want. I'm doing it because I want to make sure nothing happens to it till I get to it. All right. Now let's go back to this one. So I'll take this off. I need to finish the tail on this one. I forgot to finish the tail. Okay, there. Now that's what your piece will look like until you start the unravel. Now you do not, for any circumstance, do your unraveling from the bottom. If you do, you're going to get a tangled mess. Then you're going to have to start at the top and unravel the whole thing back down to the bottom and reknit it again. I've done that a couple of times and I learned the hard way. Do not do the unraveling from your bottom cast on edge. So it's very simple at this point. You just go like this. There's 1, 2. See, that knit 2 together stops it from untangling any further. And you just keep doing this all the way down. And then you do the same on the other side, because it's only the 3 stitches. Now if you do 4 stitches, then your loop will be longer. This one is, I guess I need to turn it over. It might unravel easier from this side. Yeah. Okay. It's been a while since I made one, but you unravel all your stitches, and that's where you get your tails. And let me go to this one now so you can see it on the real one. Same thing. You want to unravel from your top edge, not your bottom edge. So we just start unraveling. And if you do it from the right edge, it's real quick and easy and simple. There's no tangles, there's no messes. And you just keep going and going and going. It's better not to leave it knitted too long because knitted stitches have a tendency to get kinky. And I've been working on this one off and on for a couple of nights because I had other things to do. So unfortunately, this one's a little kinky. Now let me turn it over and unravel this side. I'm not going to have time to do the whole thing, but I just want to show you how the whole thing works. As you can see, it unravels super, super, super easy. Takes longer to knit it together than it does to unravel it. Just keep going all the way down to the bottom, and as you can see, you got a nice loopy scarf. Now I said I'd show you what to do with the end. Now the end piece, which is really nice, let me get back to it. There's my tail. You don't weave it in. Instead, cut it off to the same width as the rest of your tails, and it becomes part of your tail, and it'll just blend right in and you'll never see it. You can always do it on an angle if you like, just to give it a little different look. And then when you get to the bottom, same thing. You would trim it off to be the same length as your tails. In this case, it's almost exact. I would only have to trim off like that much. But that's how this one works. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoy it. Oh, that's right. I was going to show you the colors that I had. I have a purple one. I think I have enough purple to do 2 or 3 scarves because it takes 2 balls per. This one I thought was really neat. This is a beautiful royal purple and red. I think I have enough to make 3 with this one. Then I have the black one I just showed you. I only have enough left to make 2. And then I got this nice warm brown. I think there's enough to make 3. This one, I don't know what you call the color, but it's very, very earthy, and I think I have enough of that one also to make 3. So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please subscribe and hit the notification button if you want to see more of my videos. This is what the label looks like. It's called Lydia. It's, what is it made out of? 100% nylon. I'll move it up. 100% nylon, which is very good. Like I said, this one only has 62 yards. They recommend a size 15 to 17 needle, which I did the 17. This comes from a company called Feza. It has been discontinued. You might be able to find some on Etsy. You may be able to find some on Ravelry or maybe Amazon, but they're very few and far between. Now also you could experiment, possibly do one with a light fuzzy yarn. Let me see if I put a paper under it. It might make it look a little nicer. See, it just has a little fuzz. Or you can do one with fun fur or funky fur. There you got a real fuzzy. This one I think would make something look really, really a lot like a bow. I have several colors of the funky fur. I have, I think, 12 colors of the Ophelia. And then this one is the discontinued yarn. It's called Quest. But I like it because it's got these really rich jewel colors. I have a few left. And it's got a little bit of fuzz. So this one and this one would probably make your scarf look the same. I didn't have time to knit one. But this one I know will make it look almost like a fuzzy boa because all the fur is going to stick out with all your little loops. Again, thank you for watching.